We are live, I think.
It says we're live.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Definitely Different Conversations. Today we're talking with Heather Nichols, who is a Forbes featured and Access Consciousness certified facilitator, a Joy of Business facilitator. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, and thank you everybody for waiting. And I think this is basic. This could be. We had a little bit of chaos right before we started, so we Heather did something extra so we could post it to her Facebook page, so it's also live there. So it's like creating new business on the go.
Totally. I love it. It's like, just always. It's like functioning from the space and the awareness that nothing is ever a problem. Like you can go around anything, you can work around anything, you can out-create anything, you can create beyond anything if you're just willing to be in question and you're willing to have the point of view that, okay, let's change it. What can we do to fix this? What can we do to adjust this? To me, that's a huge part of business done different.
Wow, because we were actually with like, oh, so what else is possible here? And you're like, oh, let me do this and this. We created a possibility instead of like a problem.
Yeah. Or like, oh, we can't do that. Okay. Oh, well, it's like, no, yeah, we can.
Because
Let's
we have to start on time.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
People that take my classes know that I'm not the best at starting on time.
Wow. Okay, so I actually really love this. So me being a control freak a lot, and I have used it a lot against me. So is business done different, like being out of control? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, before we went live, we were talking about you were saying, oh, I'm, adding all these things and it's this sort of, growth curve or whatever in your business. And you were talking about like, I don't remember exactly what you said. Yeah.
So I'm creating. I have so many new ideas and so many new projects, and I'm starting with a new website. And every time I do something with that, I discover new things that need to be done. So the things that I had anticipated at first go a little bit later, and I have to do these new things first. And it really has been showing me I'm learning how to let go out of control of how which thing should be done first, and like letting go of the stress. I'm like, fuck, oh, something new, which I used to do a lot. I was like, so I'm learning how to, every time that you choose something with your business, you discover more choices to be done.
Exactly. And one of the questions also that's a great one to function from with business is, what can I add? What can I add to my life? What can I add to my business? Who can I add to create everything I'm asking to create right away? And I've been playing lately with Dane here in the Being You Facilitator training in June. He challenged the Being You facilitators to create basically a reality where he said, what if your business was growing so fast that you had to double the number of people working with you every 6 months?
Oh.
And that is so beyond this reality. I mean, most businesses would go into, like, if you were functioning from linearity, from your mind, from business in this reality, the distraction of business, you would go, I can never afford that. That's too much. That's not going to be sustainable. That's going to be blah, 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 blah. I went, that makes me really uncomfortable. I have no idea how I would do that, but it totally matches the energy of what I've been asking for, and the chaos that I've been refusing, because I too am a mega control freak. And I was like, I'm in. I'm doing it. So what? I didn't do it. I didn't like go sit down and go, okay, now I'm going to add people. But I chose the energy of it, and I chose the out of controlness of it. And I chose to just keep I chose to start running faster than I've ever run and keep going, with relaxation, because it's not about like speeding up and getting like, tense and stressed out. And it's actually like the relaxed space of when I'm relaxed, I can actually move faster. So there's a million different places we can go with this, but it's been amazing. I mean, and when I'm creating and we just keep adding people, and I keep letting go of jobs that I used to have and passing things on and being willing to let people fail and let people mess up and let people not know what they're doing and let people totally create. And when you can do that, it's like the receiving just goes through the roof, because there's a lot of amazing people out there who would actually love to contribute to you.
Wow. I love this so much. We could go a million different ways with that.
We spent 3 days together in Brussels, so this is good. This is a little.
That's true. So I will come back to that later. But Heather is coming to Brussels, which is my home country, and the head city of my home country, with the class Business Done Different. So 3 days of this. So we were talking about out of control. You talked about receiving, which I would love to come back to that one. Receiving, you have to receive, and then what receiving are you creating in the people that are working with you? And one word that really pops that comes from the Joy of Business book is micromanagement.
Yeah. Puck and pod.
Because like like one of the things that I've noticed, if people with me being on the other side, if I'm working in a business with somebody who micromanages me, I noticed I do this. If people give me completely space, I do this. You can't even see what I'm doing anymore, because I'm doing like I go beyond. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of us do tend to function like that, and don't want to be told what to do and don't want to be micromanaged. And I mean, it's very similar to me as like how I am with my kids. It's like, if you raise a child and you're like hovering over them all the time, they're not only going to be like, get the fuck away, but they're also going to be like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I so wrong? Like, why can't I be trusted to know what I know? And I went through this with my kids. I still do all the time, but pretty dynamically at one point, where I had to really let go of trying to protect them and trust that they're infinite beings. And it's the same in a business. I mean, it's really cool, actually. Because my business has been also, I've been adding so much and growing so much, and just like, and going, I want to be doing all these classes. I don't care if they're happening like right on top of each other. This is what I would like to be creating right now. Boom, 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 boom. And it feels like it's this, like it matches the pace that I like to create at, and with the intensity and the speed and the fun and the play of it all. And but there's no way that I could institute all of it by myself. And I have an amazing team, a phenomenal team. And we just added some interns, and I started to I noticed that I started to get into this where I was still trying to do the things that I used to do. And what was happening is I was actually micromanaging. I was getting my world was going like this, because I was like, oh, there's all these details and all these pieces that need to be taken care of now with this expanded, creation roster or whatever, and so even with, having put people in place for things, it was like, okay. So we had a meeting on Monday with everybody, and we had brought in 3 amazing interns, and I just went, okay, guys, these are all the things I'd love to see us creating. Like, these are all the areas that I'd love to see growth. And I don't have to, none of this has to happen. And we're just asking, let's all just ask for more and greater with the business. And the business is here to contribute to all of us. And if everybody who would like to create revenue streams for, if you like, for the interns, it's like, if you want to create a revenue stream to create a job for you in 3 months? Great, do that, you know? And what can we create? And who wants to do what's fun for you? And what would you like to do? And who wants to do what? And they were like, da, 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 da. I want to do this. I want to do, oh, we all want to do this. Okay, great. Okay, cool. And so, you know, the next step is, okay, now let's train everybody on the systems, because another like side note is having really elegant systems is huge for when you create like this. You've got to have very elegant, organized systems so that that support the chaos. But it was so cool because, and I said to them, I said, I have been a total control freak, and I am sorry, and I'm letting go of that. And I'm like, what can we be together, like totally beyond this reality for the creation of business? And things, I went away from that meeting and things exploded. Like all these people were like, da, 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 and people in my business and people not in my business. Like every time I look on Facebook, I'm like, oh my gosh, look, check that out, you know? And so it's amazing when you are willing to, and the thing is you said you wanted to talk about receiving, that's a willingness to receive and to say, you know what, this is not about me. You know, this is about, we are creating something here together. And I hire people for their awareness. You know, I don't hire them for what they can do or what they can do for me. It's like, bring your awareness to this playground of creation and let's create together. And you have awareness that I don't have. So if I'm trying to orchestrate the growth of my business in a way that I think it needs to go, and there's no room for anybody, then there's no room for anybody. And it will stay small, and I will stay stressed, and I will have to micromanage, you know, all these things. But if I go, here we go, let's go. Who wants to do what? Go, you know, and continue to have my awareness on everything, you know. I mean, like I said, this is a huge conversation and a huge learning curve, and really so incredibly rewarding, and like there's so much contribution that is actually available here. Gary Douglas says business is about receiving. It's about receiving.
Oh God, I want to cry. This is this, like with this conversation, my whole body and back is like opening, and this, I love this. And this is what I've been experiencing, like what you just said. Like the last 2 years I have been working with businesses where you enter and they look at what you're capable of. They give you a more or less free rein, okay, go for it. And what I've noticed in those 2 years, I've grown so much that I have never had with anybody before. And it's like a mutual, like gifting and receiving what you see in nature. It allows the business to grow. It allows you to grow. It allows everybody who is part of the business, the boss of the business and the players in the business, they all grow and change and like outcreate themselves every time so fast. Yeah. Which is like, that's the new business. That's the new business that I would love to see all over the world.
Yes, me too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. It's business done different. And, you know, we have this class called Business Done Different in the Joy of Business. And I love that we call it that because it's not grammatically correct, which I love. If you were to use proper grammar, it would be differently, but differently is slightly different. Different is different. Totally different. Another universe of creation, of receiving, of contribution, of relaxation, of ease, of joy. And that is, to me, it's what I've always known, and didn't have the tools to create, didn't have the sort of conversation that was inviting me to know what I know, until I found the joy of business. And I'll never forget my first class with Simone Milasas, who's the founder and creator of Joy of Business. And I was literally sitting on the edge of my seat, and I was like, this is my microphone. because in these classes we, use microphones to ask questions, and it was like, this is my microphone. And the whole time I was like, wait a minute, what? Wait, hold on. I couldn't get enough of it. Somebody at one point was like, do you want me to run your bars? I'm like, no, I'm not laying down. Like, I'm not getting on the table. And because it was like coming home, and I've always desired to create business. And I was, really lucky to grow up with a family that encouraged me to do that from the get-go. Like I knew that I would always have my own business. I never aspired to have a job. I had a job for 9 months and that was it.
Wow.
And so I've been creating my own business for, pretty much since the get-go. 1997 when I finished my master's degree. And I kept trying to do it according to this reality and the rules and regulations. And this is how you do it. And I had all these coaches and I was like, I was actually always willing to do what they suggested, and like, I was willing to actually like do it how they told me to, because I was so committed to succeeding. But I also hated it, and I also always knew there was something else, it was always so frustrating. Like, hey, but I'm like being more, why isn't my business growing? And then when I found these tools, it was just every year it's been like,
Can I jump on something?
Yeah.
So you had business, you grew up with business. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is definitely like business done different. It's definitely for people who have a business and.
Well, the business of your life, let's just say that.
Right. Because
your life is your business.
Something else that we could talk about. I never thought that I would ever have a business. I thought I was literally too stupid. I didn't have the degrees. I didn't have enough wit. It was just not my thing. Well, being deeply frustrated, working jobs. Could you, and I'm sure there's like people that will listen to this or like watching right now that are in a job and that like hate their job, but they don't want to do business or blah, 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 blah. So, could you talk a bit to those people, like what questions or where to go from there?
Yeah. If you wake up in the morning and you're breathing, you're in business. So guess what? If you're breathing right now, you have a business and it's called your life.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if you have a job, that's part of the business of your life. If you have a business, that's also part of the business of your life, which includes your body. It includes your family. It includes your relationships. It includes, your hobbies or whatever you want to call it. Like all of it. Everything that you do, everything that you spend your time doing is part of the business of your life. And this is one of the most refreshing things about this conversation to me is that, when I'm picking my children up from school, when I'm getting a massage, when I'm going to yoga, when I'm, whatever it is that I do, it's all part of the business of my life. And as well as when I'm setting up my computer or whatever. And the thing about that is that it really, like there's no separation between any part of my life. Nothing is separate. And so I can be, doing lots of things at once and letting everything contribute. Like everything can contribute to your money flows. Everything can contribute to your joy and the ease with your body and your business and all of that. Now, if you have a job and you would like to not have a job, so what can you start to add? And that question that we talked about in the beginning, what can you add to your life? What can you add to your success, which is a beautiful question from Steve Bowman. What can you add to your success that would expand your business, your money flows right away? And just start like looking at, where can I create different revenue streams, new revenue streams, what's available to me, like how, and, really, I mean, a huge part of this is the willingness to ask and receive, and to have ask and receive as your reality, and really one of the primary spaces that you create all of it from. And yeah, there's a million things more that I could say about that, but just start asking for something different. If you would like to have something different, start asking for it, and allow the universe to surprise you. And that's also where, we talk about micromanaging a team, but it's also like micromanaging the universe and micromanaging, everything. Anything that you control will shrink. Now, there's moments where bringing the energy of control or order into a situation, like instilling it, can actually create greater. And that's a story for another time. But in general, if you're trying to control your life into existence and the future that you're asking for into existence, you will shrink your life. You will shrink your money flows. You will shrink the possibilities that are available to you.
I have another question that's popping with this one. I love that question. What else and who else can I add to my life? I use that when I start to create drama, or I'm bored, or things are not working. Some things in my life are not working. And I've heard it before, like with people, they want to try and change their life. And they say, but what do you mean adding things to my life? I'm too busy. Like my life is, my job takes too much energy, and I'm drained, and I'm like, could you speak to that?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things too is, part of adding to your life is also, I mean, all of this, it has to include you. And I mean, that may sound really obvious, but in a way it's also really not, because most people don't really include themselves and their bodies in the creation of business and money, especially. We tend to kind of give ourselves up for business, give ourselves up for money, give ourselves up for our families, and give ourselves up, and then you're nowhere to be found, So perhaps asking to add to is maybe it's taking a 10-minute nap, or I love 10-minute naps. I set my timer, I lay down, I relax, it goes off. I'm like, or, getting a massage or moving your body. Our body is really required to move. They love to move every day. Move your body, not just getting into your car, make time for that, And the thing is that when you do, it's the sort of, and everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, because what happens is, as you start to include you more, your receiving grows. And as your receiving grows,
there we go again, receiving.
I know, that tricky thing. As your receiving grows, there's more possibilities there. There's more relaxation in your world. There's more magic. There's more money. There's more space. But you have to choose it, because having a reality of receiving it's a very different conversation and a different choice than we have in the world today, than we have in this reality in terms of how business goes, so make that a priority, and you don't have to go after money to have money come into your life. I mean, you have to be willing to ask for it and receive it, but you have to be willing to receive it. And how do you receive it? Well, do whatever you can to increase your receiving. One of my favorite tools that, people sometimes talk about, and I don't think anybody actually does, maybe there's a few people, I do it as much as I can, is to take an hour a day and a day a week just for you. And I always take it an hour a day, at least an hour a day. And I schedule days in my calendar where I'm not.
Wow.
They're blocked off, and it doesn't mean I'm not working. It doesn't mean like, it's just sort of like I think the Mayans have this like day out of time in the Mayan calendar. I heard this years ago, and I'm like, it's sort of like my day out of time. It's like, there's nothing scheduled, so I really can just sort of be in the flow of what's going to create, contributing to my body and what's going to create the most for me in this 10 seconds, and that is a tool that will explode your receiving. And then everything else just follows. What a terrible way to grow your business, huh?
Wow. Yeah. I actually, when I don't take the day off, I notice the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if it's not even a day off? It's just a day for you, because anything, like sometimes on those days, I'm like, wow, I could really use some computer time with my business, stuff I haven't been able to get to. And so that's on the table too, but it's just this day it's a day for me, it's on my calendar. It says me, and the whole day is blocked.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So many cool tools to.
Oh my God. Universes. Yeah. Yeah.
We're almost like at a good half hour.
Yeah.
Can I check the thread on the Facebook Live if we have any questions?
Yes.
And
I actually will need to go pretty soon too. So.
Okay, no questions yet. Oh, Lee Black says you're amazing.
I love you, Leah. Leah is my amazing graphic designer. I'm giving a shout out to her right now. She's a freaking phenomenal graphic designer. So don't hire her, and a photographer, and an amazing
Prime time for Lee. And then Yasudara, Ramiro Fernandez, says that it's so awesome you're coming to Belgium.
Thank you, Yaso.
And Penelope shared the URL for the class.
Cool. Awesome.
Wow. Yes. And I will definitely, once this podcast is finished, I will add all the relevant links. So you can snoop around in the Joy of Business book, which has a lot of cool tools.
Yeah.
The Joy of Business website. I'm going to add your website as well, Heather, and your program. And also like the Access Consciousness that we named, which is a lot of the stuff that, well, this class is a class from Access Consciousness. And then is it the Joy of Business, or Business Done Different is like a specialty from?
Joy of Business is a specialty area within Access Consciousness, and then Business Done Different is a 3-day masterclass. So I always say it's like a creation masterclass, and it actually really is for anybody and everybody. You don't have to have a business to take it.
If you're alive.
If you're alive, I mean, we've had whole afternoons on parenting. If there's a lot of parents in the room, and how does that, because if there's any area of your life that's not working, it's going to affect your business. So we want to look at that. There's a section in the manual about bodies. So it's all fair game. You want to create something different. You want to create more. Would you like to have more money? We will go there, so.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And let me just add one little thing. I wasn't able to have or create my business or the business I'm creating with as long as I wasn't willing to choose to live. So and that was like, that has been the new watch of this year. So I reckon if you're asking to be alive,
yeah, desiring to be alive is a good thing. It's a thing. It's neither good nor bad. If you would like to create a business and wealth and all of that can really help. Yeah. And not to make light of it, because that can be a really, really intense situation for people. And sometimes that's going on and they don't know it's going on. So there's a whole world of things to explore with that too, beyond, the scope of this. But anything is changeable, guys. Anything and everything is changeable, truly. And you don't have to know how to change it. You just have to start to ask for something different.
Choose. I definitely choose.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to Brussels in January. And thank you so much to everybody who is like watching right now and who will be listening in the future. What else is possible? And yeah, how does it get any better than that? Do you have like one more question? Cool question to leave it? A business question?
Well, how much fun can you have today creating beyond everything that you thought possible right away? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll be in Brussels January 17th through the 19th. And I'm so excited. I was so looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everybody. Happy holidays.